Hey guys,
Hey, it's Mrs. Jennings,
and Mr. Jennings.
and we are going to attempt our first cooking demonstration video. So, to start, this week is America. America, I guess.
America.
We didn't talk about that ahead of time.
It's America.
And and we're going to show you how to make a really easy from scratch one pot mac and cheese. So, to get started, we're going to talk about our ingredients. If you take a look right here, we've got everything that we need. Now, we gave this to you on Monday, but we've got our box of macaroni noodles, some butter in that little white dish, some shredded cheddar cheese, some cream cheese, whole milk, salt and pepper, and the pot that we will need to cook it all in. Now, unlike conventional mac and cheese, we are not going to boil the water and cook the noodles ahead of time. This actually all gets cooked together, and then the starch from the pasta that gets mixed with the milk actually is what thickens the sauce. So it's way less work than making your regular from scratch mac and cheese. So let's get started.
Okay, now that we have all of our ingredients ready to go, we're going to use a larger pot. This is so that we can mix all of the ingredients together and bring the macaroni to a slow boil. Again, this is very different than your regular prepackaged mac and cheese or an Easy Mac thing. So I'm going to go and turn our oven up to about medium-high heat. For our oven is a 4, sometimes a 5. Yours might be a 6, it might be 3. But the idea is to do it slowly. I don't know if I turn on the right burner. And so I'm going to go ahead and pour in the milk. And this
How many
is
cups of milk?
4 cups of milk. Okay? 4 cups of milk. Ironically, 1 pound of macaroni noodles is also around 4 cups of macaroni noodles. So pay attention to the size box you get and just know it's about 4 cups of macaroni. And then we have our freshly ground pepper.
1 teaspoon of that.
And our 1.5 teaspoons of salt. Now we'll go ahead and use a spoon here to mix these things together and get them ready to slow boil.
You want to keep an eye on your noodles and milk as it's heating up. As you can see here, this has been on medium-high heat for about 5.5 minutes. It's starting to steam a little bit, but I'm going to keep stirring it just so it doesn't stick to the bottom. Milk can burn if you just leave it and turn it on to medium-high to high heat. So you want to make sure you keep things kind of mixed up as it's heating. We're starting to get a little bit of steam off of there, but we're still not to a boil yet. Okay, we are 10.5 minutes in, and we have finally got a boil. You can see those little air bubbles and the steam coming out of our pot. So now that our milk and pasta is boiling, we're supposed to boil these for 14 to 16 minutes. Let it stay at that nice low boil. So let me reset my timer here and set that for 14 minutes. And we're going to wait until the milk has thickened almost like a sauce. Now, it's going to take a lot longer to cook this pasta this way, coming from being brought up from cold milk, than it is just dropping it in hot water. So make sure you're patient and give it plenty of time. So we're going to really go for that 14 minutes.
Also, it's important, you probably want to use whole milk. Otherwise, what you might find if you try to use half or skim or other things, which we do
1%,
use,
2%.
it may be really, really thin when you're done and kind of watery.
And if that's all you have, then give it a try, and I'm sure it'll still taste delicious, even if it's not quite as creamy. But we did use whole milk for this recipe, so we definitely encourage you to do that if that is an option. Also important to make sure you keep stirring the pot. It says to stir occasionally in the original recipe that we're using, but I am finding that this is thickening really quickly. Can we get a in-pot look there, camera? Thank you. And so I'm really want to make sure I'm scraping the bottom so that the pasta noodles aren't sticking in that milk and the milk isn't burning.
Okay, so a little update here. I am stirring this about every minute to keep the milk from burning on the bottom and to keep the macaroni from getting stuck. And plot twist, we thought this was going to take 14 minutes, but right now it's taking about 4. Okay, so update, we are 5 minutes in. If you take a look at this, it's really, really thick, and I'm actually stirring it consistently now to keep it from burning on the bottom. And the milk is really, really nice and thick. And so
But the question is, are the noodles done?
They are done. I think they're done.
Okay, so we ended up cooking that only about 5.5, 6 minutes to get those little elbow macaroni noodles finished in the milk. And now I've got this gorgeous creamy sauce that typically would take a whole lot of time to make with a roux. So we're going to go ahead and remove that from the heat so that it doesn't burn. Okay, so now we're ready to add the rest of our ingredients. So we're going to add our butter and 2 ounces of cream cheese, also known as a 1/4 cup, as well as 3 cups of shredded cheddar. Anything that takes a whole bag of cheddar cheese, can't go wrong. So we're going to stir all that together. Bring it in, cameraman. Thank you. We're going to stir all that together and get everything nice and melty. The heat of the pasta will go ahead and really finish melting your butter and your cream cheese. But you also want to be careful when you're stirring not to tear up and mash your noodles. So I'm actually going to kind of put the butter and the cream cheese, sort of fold it in. All right, so now we're going to mix in our butter. Ooh, it's getting nice and melty. The cream cheese and the cheddar cheese. And still trying to do that without mashing everything together. Oh my gosh, this is looking glorious.
So what she's doing is called folding. So you're basically taking and scraping the bottom and folding it on top of itself like dough, rather than cutting in the middle like you would a scrambled egg.
Or stirring where you might be breaking up the noodles. So here I've got a little chunk of cream cheese. I'm gonna try to stir that and fold that in so it gets incorporated. All right, this is still super, super thick. So I'm gonna add some milk to this and try to thin it out. But honestly, if you like gooey, like stick to the spoon mac and cheese, this might be just right for you. Okay, so we decided that this has turned out to be just a little bit tacky for our taste. So we took an additional cup of whole milk and heated it up in the microwave and turned our burner on low. So Mr. Jennings is adding that back in to try to thin out that sauce. And I think it's just about perfect. All right, so we're finally ready for my favorite part of cooking, which is adding a little bit of improvisation at the end. Some of my favorite flavors that I like to add to mac and cheese are garlic powder. I also sometimes like to add nutmeg, just gives a little bit of spiciness. If you are a spicy food person, certainly you could throw a little bit of, cameraman, Mr. Jennings is a big fan of spicy, so he likes a little bit of Frank's Red Hot in his mac and cheese as well. So I'm gonna add just a couple sprinkles of garlic and then just a dash of nutmeg, and I think we'll be finished with our mac and cheese.
All right, so now is for the taste test to see how we did.
There you go.
Oh yeah, the garlic, that's the way to go.
If you like Panera mac and cheese or Chick-fil-A mac and cheese, I think this was just as good, maybe even a little bit better.
It's better because we made it. I knew a lot of things about Caitlin Jennings when we got married. What I didn't know is that she's one of these people who eats ketchup on her mac and cheese, and it was almost a deal breaker. So if that's you, just delete this video and pretend you're not my student. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to see it.
Ketchup on mac is life. Don't let Mr. Jennings tell you otherwise.
Well, so our hope is that this would be something fun and enjoyable for you to do. Do this for your family. Your parents have put up with you all summer long. It might be nice to return the favor and do something sweet for them and your little brothers and sisters or cousins or nieces and nephews, whoever you have in the household. So
hope you enjoy one pot mac and cheese. Happy America Week.
See you guys.